Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Decyfr Sports Super Bowl Super Show. I am one of your hosts, Neil Reynolds, and the man alongside me for the next 30 minutes needs no introduction, but I'll give him one anyway. Mr. RedZone, Scott Hanson. Scott, how are you?
Neil, great to see you, buddy. Welcome to Los Angeles. You know, the whole world will be coming to Los Angeles, at least virtually, for the Super Bowl, but we're pleased to welcome you and all the NFL UK fans there virtually right now to Los Angeles.
Fantastic. We are in Scott Hanson's kitchen, everybody. We are going to preview Super Bowl 56, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams. We're going to have some quick fire questions. I've renamed this Scott on the Spot. We're going to do our Decyfr Awards as well, NFL Awards for the season. They've entrusted us with those, the good people at Decyfr. And we're going to hear from some UK super fans. But Scott, let's start with the news, which to begin with, really, the news is this is the most incredible playoff series ever, isn't it? I mean, it's got to be up there. I know you and I get romantic about the NFL, but it's almost made me want to write a poem.
And hopefully we get a classic game on Super Bowl Sunday, and that it would be worthy of a poem or a bard's tale, so to speak. You know, this season was so hard to figure out for all the fans that are watching on Decyfr, that watch NFL RedZone. We said week by week, we don't know who's great this year in the NFL. And just about everybody at the beginning of the season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have all 22 starters back and the greatest quarterback of all time. Pencil them in for the Super Bowl in the NFC. And then the Chiefs had been to three straight, or were gunning for three straight. So why not the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC? And the rest is just, we'll figure it out in the wash. There were points during the season where both of those teams looked vulnerable. They proved to be vulnerable in the playoff series. And now we've got 2 4 seeds playing for the Super Bowl championship. Never happened before. And it's been a fascinating season. And hopefully we get a classic game to cap it off.
Yeah, and 2 4 seeds who, the Bengals at one point in mid-December, they were 7-6. In November, the Rams had lost 3 in a row. I mean, we just don't know, do we? We pretend we know.
I'm glad you brought that up, because what I always look at when we have the Super Bowl matchup and the bye week to really get into all of the minutia and the details is, what was the lowest point of the season for either team? And you just named it right there. There were points where Rams fans and Bengals fans, respectively, would have figured, we're dead in the water. You know what? This is not our year. And Bengals fans probably would think, yeah, you know what? We're not ready yet. We're not ready to take that leap. Joe Burrow looks great, and Jamar Chase has proven to be a weapon as a rookie. But you know what? We're not quite there yet, especially when they were 7-6 on like a 2-game losing streak. And then when the Rams had their losing streak as well, and the NFC West was an absolute clash every single week in that division, Rams fans would have figured, no chance for a home Super Bowl this year. And yet here we are, because these are the 2 hottest teams going right now. In fact, the Bengals are really the hottest team in football, even more so than the Rams, because the Bengals have only lost 1 game since mid-December. And that's when they already had the division locked up. That was week 18 to the Browns. Mm-hmm. And they had already had the game. They already had the division locked up, didn't have anything to play for. So it's very interesting, and at the end of a very interesting season, hopefully a very interesting game on Super Sunday.
Absolutely. We're going to dig right into Super Bowl 56 in a few minutes' time. Other bits of news, though, of course, Tom Brady, we bid farewell. 22 seasons, 10 Super Bowl appearances. He won 7 of them. Could have won all 10 of them. He was so incredible. I mean, I don't know what words are left, Scott, to describe this man.
Yeah, okay. Greatest quarterback of all time. There is no discussion. Probably the greatest football player of all time. In fact, in recent days, Bill Belichick came out and said, this is the greatest football player of all time. Not the greatest player I coached, not the greatest quarterback, but the greatest football player of all time. I would call him that. Some people might want to make a case for Jerry Rice, or maybe Jim Brown, or maybe even Lawrence Taylor in the more recent decades. But I think he's the greatest football player of all time. My thing is he the greatest team sports athlete of all time? Because then you're looking at Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan Some people might even try and make a case for LeBron James. And
Yep.
then for all of the soccer fans, the European football fans out there, who would you place as the greatest soccer player of all time? And then compare him to Tom Brady. I think that's an argument that can be made, but there's nothing more in the football world that anyone can say about Tom Brady that hasn't already been said.
No, he is in that bracket with Messi, with Pele. You know, if I'm going to give you the soccer names, Maradona, Ronaldo, you could walk down any street in London. You might not have an NFL fan, but you'll ask them, do you know Tom Brady? Oh, yeah, it's the guy who won all the Super Bowls. So he does transcend. And he's done it all. And he goes out on top, Scott. He goes out kicking and screaming against the Los Angeles Rams, leads another comeback. You know, at the end of a season when he threw for more than 5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, there was no fade. There was no fade, and he'll always be able to remember that. Now, that might drive him crazy a couple of years from now. He might wonder if he could have still done it.
He leaves also in a season where he's 44 years old, and he's going to get MVP votes. Mm-hmm. You and I think, are going to talk about the MVP here, but he is going to get some MVP votes in his final season at the age of 44. Almost impossible. There's so many different ways of looking at it. But one of the ways that I thought about it is this. He technically could have had 2 Hall of Fame careers. Mm-hmm. Okay. Take the first 10 years of his career and just put the stats and the accomplishments and the winning, and that's most likely a Hall of Fame career. And then take the last, or take 11 and 11, let's say, and take the last, or even since he's been 40, he's been unbelievable and a mega winner. I mean, it boggles the mind what he has done. He's the greatest of all time.
Which somewhat overshadows Ben Roethlisberger retiring 19 seasons, never had a losing campaign, won 2 Super Bowls. So Big Ben, farewell. Aaron Rodgers, new team in 2022, back with the Packers or retiring? I always felt like, Scott, this depended very much on how the season finished, and it didn't finish great for the Green Bay Packers. I just wonder if it's going to come up again as an off-season story. What do you think?
It's absolutely going to be an off-season story. I'll just add this about Ben Roethlisberger. You don't put the numbers next to Tom Brady or the winning next to Tom Brady, but Ben does have something over Tom Brady, and that is this. He played his entire career with one franchise, and he has the city of Pittsburgh, which is one of our greatest sports cities in the United States. He is on the Mount Rushmore, if hopefully most people understand that reference too, of Pittsburgh sports athletes. And that is something that you don't take lightly in the great state of Pennsylvania. So Ben does have that, at least over, if you will, Tom Brady, who of course played for 2 different franchises. As for Aaron Rodgers, I would say this. I agree with you in terms of it would depend, his likelihood to come back to Green Bay would depend on how the season went. But I would say even more so behind the scenes and on the field. And apparently, according to Rodgers, through some of his news conferences during the season, there have been reparations made in some of the relationships with upper management and the executives that run the Green Bay Packers, with whom he had smoke signaled that he had an issue with going into this season. So if that's true, I think there's more likelihood of a chance that he'll still take another snap for the Green Bay Packers. However, Davante Adams' future is still up in the air going into this offseason here. And so we'll see what they do with Davante Adams. If there's no Davante, I would think there's a very strong likelihood that Rodgers says, that's it. I'm not a part of a rebuilding project. If we can come back here and win 13, 14, 15 games next year and get to the promised land, this is where I want to be. If it doesn't happen, send me to a place where the infrastructure is already built for a Super Bowl championship, if they can get a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I'll come and be that guy. But I really don't know how to handicap it right now. If you ask me, is he back or not? He's his own man. Some people would even say he's a little bit strange in his decision process. But I don't think anyone knows, maybe including Aaron Rodgers right now, whether Rodgers will be back.
Yeah, they are $45 million over the cap. He doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild, as you said. one last thing, I think, as we head towards Super Bowl 56 and we look and kind of reflect, get in a reflective mood and think about this season. And we've got, actually looking ahead to next season, Germany coming on the horizon. I think it's going to be very exciting. We've got these teams now who can market themselves in the UK. So Chicago, Jacksonville, Miami, Minnesota, the New York Jets, San Francisco. Good times ahead. And of course, we had the London games back.
Yeah, and well, you got to tell me, because I did not make it out for any of the London games. Of course, I watched them all on TV, and it was thrilling to see people back in the stands. How was the reception after the 1 year, COVID hiatus?
It was like a party. It was like the shackles had been removed. It was fantastic. And the moment I'll remember, and I've just written about this in the Super Bowl game program, the moment I'll remember from this season was we were doing the game for Sky Sports, and I'm looking down from the studio and I've got the feed so I can see the players on the sideline, and the fighter jets soar over the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at the end of the national anthem. And Matt Ryan just looks up and then nods and puts his helmet on and trots onto the field. And I was like, yes, the NFL is back. It's back. And we needed it so bad. So it's great that we've got it. And I'm really hopeful. We see what's going to happen in Germany. It's going to be fantastic. The future's bright internationally. It really is. I
have heard from German football fans, and they are over the moon to get the game in. There's so many people that stay up late, and I'm always cognizant of that as I host NFL RedZone, what type of a time commitment it is on a Sunday night for you, for other fans, anyone watching this right now, anywhere in the UK or in Europe, to stay up late and watch it, and for Germany to get game and then games, plural, throughout the future years is absolutely going to be a thrill, because I know they want to showcase their passion the way they've seen the UK do it for the handful of years we've had the international series. One of the things that I always love and that always impresses me when they televise the games over here, and it's the opposite when we have an early kickoff at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or Wembley, wherever they would be playing, like it can be a 6 a.m. kickoff over here, a 7 a.m. kickoff over here in Los Angeles, like 9 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States. But when they pan the crowd, the number of different jerseys and paraphernalia, whoever's playing in the game, right, is obviously represented, the two teams. But you'll see, if you really pay attention, you'll see 20 or 30 or all 32 NFL teams' gear represented in the crowd. And I always find that fascinating and really encouraging when you talk about the future of pro football as a global sport.
Let's get to Super Bowl 56 then. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams. Let's start with the narrative and the story around both teams. So let's start with the Cincinnati Bengals. And for me, Scott, they offer hope. They are exactly the underdog story the NFL loves. 4 wins last year, 5 straight losing seasons, 3 years bottom of their division. But if you get your quarterback and you get some players,
that's it.
You could turn it around quick.
And you know what? Everybody tries to swing at some point to mix sports metaphors here. I'll use a baseball or a cricket metaphor. Everybody swings for the fences when it comes to the quarterback in the draft at some point. And taking a guy number 1, if you look historically, it's kind of a 50-50 proposition whether or not that number 1 overall quarterback is going to turn out to be Troy Aikman or Jamarcus Russell. Okay. It's a 50-50 proposition. Joe Burrow has done things this year and has done things historically in a short, condensed time frame. He can put himself in a conversation with guys like Joe Namath and Joe Montana. And I say that because winners at every level. Yep. The only 2 quarterbacks to have won a consensus national college championship in football here in the United States and a Super Bowl championship are Joe Namath and Joe Montana. And neither one of them was a Heisman Trophy winner. Burrow has that on top of it.
So he can be the first.
He'd be the trifecta. Can you now? Let's do a little trivia. Can you name the only quarterback to win a consensus national championship? He was the #1 pick in the draft. He won the Heisman Trophy, and he started in a Super Bowl. The hint is he did not win the Super Bowl the year he did it. And this is not since you've been covering the NFL.
Oh, there's too many games, too many.
I know.
Give me another clue.
I'm sure there's people yelling at their screens right now watching this on Decyfr saying, I know. Cam Newton. But of course, he lost his Super Bowl, but he won the national championship at Auburn, was the #1 pick in the draft, won the Heisman Trophy, and made it to a Super Bowl. But Joe Burrow could become the first ever to do all of those in his third year. It's incredible.
So the narrative, I guess, and the narrative for you kind of touched on the player to watch there in Joe Burrow. We'll talk Jamar Chase in a second. I guess the narrative for the Rams, it's very interesting. The Rams, it's just unique how they do it. Everyone covets the draft and covets these first-round draft picks. Their last first-round draft pick was 2016, Jared Goff. He now lives in Detroit. Their next one is 2024. They are all in, and the veterans that were brought on board, Jalen Ramsey, Matthew Stafford, Odell Beckham, Von Miller, it's all for this, right?
That's it. We have not, I'm not sure we've seen anything like the roster composition and the approach that the Rams took, because everybody covets the draft. Everybody thinks they're a personnel and scouting genius, and they can find the 21, 22, 23-year-old draft pick that's going to help put us over the top. And why waste? Some people look at it as wasting. Why spend the big money on veterans who have done it in the NFL before? But is their talent level still to that level? Is the fire that they have to win a Super Bowl still there, especially after they get the big payday? And then if you don't make it, you become an absolute laughingstock. If you bust on a draft pick, you usually don't get that immediate, what are they doing with this? Because usually when a guy gets taken high in the first round, almost everybody thinks, yeah, I think he's probably a legitimate first rounder. And then 2-3 years later, you decide, yeah, you know what? He wasn't the guy. And so we move on. But no one gets blasted for that. If you do what the Rams do, go out and buy all these veterans, and these free agents, and make trades and whatnot with guys who, for whatever reason, didn't work out where they were, or were just older players, and then you fail. If they would have gotten knocked out in the first game of the playoffs, they would be the laughing stock of the league, and their franchise would be hamstrung to try and go forward, like you said, with no first-round draft picks in the foreseeable near future. It's all in, and they're playing for all of it right now.
They are, yeah. The chips are all in the middle of the table. So you kind of touched on Joe Burrow a little bit. Who else are you looking forward to watching in this Super Bowl? Because there are stars, aren't there? Jamar Chase, the best rookie receiver in the Super Bowl era. And then you've got Matthew Stafford, finally released from Detroit. You've got Aaron Donald, the best pass rusher in the game. Von Miller looking to be another MVP in the Super Bowl, the last defender to win the MVP. Give me another couple of names that you're really excited to watch on Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, you started by talking about Jamar Chase. I'll say the wide receivers in general, because there are playmakers on the outside, and we know these two quarterbacks can deliver the football. I like offense, like a lot of people like offense. Sign me up for a 35-34 late fourth quarter touchdown, a big bomb through the air. Cooper Kupp has had one of the greatest wide receiver seasons in NFL history. Yeah. Jamar Chase has probably had the greatest rookie wide receiver. Randy Moss was unbelievable in his rookie year, but Randy didn't make it this far in the playoffs. Jamar Chase has probably had the greatest rookie wide receiver performance that any of us can remember. And then Odell Beckham in the last month and a half, 2 months, Odell Beckham has proven to be, as the number 2 option there, what we thought Odell Beckham could be in Cleveland. He looks like Odell.
He looks like Odell. That's the best thing you can say.
In the game, he sees things. He knows where to go Stafford can deliver him the football, and you can't rotate a defense to him the way that they used to be able to do in his New York Giants days or in his early Cleveland Brown days. You have to focus on Cooper Kupp when you're facing that attack, and Odell's like, bring it on. So I think any one of those three guys could have a monster game, and I'll throw in T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals, because now teams are rotating coverage over to Jamar, and Higgins is a very capable wide receiver. We could see offensive or at least throwing fireworks between these two teams, and it should be fun.
Yeah, T. Higgins was over 100 yards in the championship game. So I feel like it's going to be a close game. I feel like it's going to be a frantic and exciting game because both these teams can get hot, but both these teams can make mistakes, which might actually make it an imperfect but an exciting Super Bowl.
100%. These two quarterbacks, if I have my stat correct, these two quarterbacks,
I know where you're going.
31 interceptions.
Yep, that's correct.
31 combined interceptions. It's one of the highest totals we have seen.
It's the most in a Super Bowl.
Well, I think
isn't it?
Kurt Warner and, believe it or not, Kurt Warner and Tom Brady, the year that they faced off when Brady was a youngster and Kurt Warner was coming out of the scene, both had a lot of interceptions in the regular season coming into this one. I don't remember what their number was exactly, but 31 is extraordinarily high. So, but they also have combined for 70-something touchdowns. So it is feast and famine with these games. Both of them have been quite clean in the 3-game playoff run for their two teams, respectively. Stafford's only thrown 1 interception, and that was on a tip pass in the end zone. Burrow's thrown 2 interceptions this playoff run. But they're capable of, either one of these quarterbacks is capable of having a 4-touchdown game or a 2 or 3 interception game, which, like you said, might make for an imperfect but yet very entertaining game.
The Rams are the favorites. I'm sniffing an upset. The Bengals have won all 3 playoff games by a total of 13 points, the lowest total of any team winning 3 to the Super Bowl. Who do you like, Scott, just quickly?
The Rams. I realize I'm picking the favorite here, but here's the difference. The Cincinnati Bengals offensive line versus the Rams defensive line. And it would not surprise me at all if at the end of the game, when the confetti is falling and there's a special camera crew that comes right up to the MVP and says, blank, blank, you just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do now? That Aaron Donald says, I'm going to Disney World. I think he is capable of taking over the game. We all know what a great player he is.
I agree.
I think he's capable, and especially with the nature of the way the offensive weakness in many people's mind of the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think that could lead to one or two of those type of turnovers that we were talking about that can absolutely flip a game. So I think Stafford gets his Super Bowl, and I think Aaron Donald could be a dark horse MVP.
Yeah, I think if the Rams win, then it's Donald or Von Miller. I think they will have affected the game, and they will be off to Disney World. Let's get to our Decyfr Awards then. The NFL Awards, MVP. So you mentioned earlier, Tom Brady should get some votes. This one seems almost certainly Aaron Rodgers, which surprises me. It's leaning so open because I would put Cooper Kupp in the mix. I would put Jonathan Taylor, but the trouble is it's recency, right? How long ago does it seem since the Colts played a decent game? It seems a world away now. I would steer towards Cooper Kupp, but I know this is a quarterback award. Who are you going to go with, Scott?
I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. You look at his touchdown to interception ratio, immaculate, and keep in mind that a couple of those interceptions came in week 1 when they played that kind of strange game against the New Orleans Saints, but it had to be in Jacksonville because of the hurricane in the New Orleans area. Rodgers, after that game, was absolutely clean. They ended up being the number 1 seed. I realize they flamed out in the playoffs, but Rodgers, to me, I can look past the COVID vaccination stuff. I can gladly look past his toe situation.
And not going to put your foot up on the desk.
I would cast my vote for Aaron Rodgers.
All right. Coach of the year. This is a difficult one because I'm not sure if it is Zach Taylor or Sean McVay who are going to be in the Super Bowl. So then you're looking at somebody who fell short of but Matt LaFleur's won 39 regular season games now to start his career with the Green Bay Packers. That's historic. That's the best in NFL history. But I look at Mike Vrabel as well. He used 91 players, and they beat 8 teams with a winning record. I would go Mike Vrabel, and I don't think you'll get it, but that would be for me. Who would you go for there?
I agree with your reasoning there, and I also agree. I don't think Vrabel will end up getting it, even though completely legitimate to vote for him. If you ask me at the end of the regular season, I'm voting Matt LaFleur. And I think that's a little bit of a, not only this year, but a little bit of a career achievement award for the 3 straight years of absolute excellence that he's had in Green Bay. But I think he did a fantastic job. But if you're asking me today, which you are asking me today, I would probably say Sean McVay, considering that he's been able to take these veterans and mesh them together and coach Matthew Stafford, who was a very accomplished and talented quarterback prior to coming to the Rams, but coached him into being a Super Bowl starting quarterback. I would vote for Sean McVay right now today.
All right, a couple of others then. So offensive player, if you're giving it to Rodgers, does Cooper Kupp or Jonathan Taylor get the offensive player, or is it Brady?
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. Kupp, because as we said before, he had one of the most amazing wide receiver seasons ever. No one stopped him. Throughout the year. And Jonathan Taylor, as great as he was, and being the rushing champ, when they needed him the most, and when the Colts needed it the most in Week 18, they laid an egg. And they lost and got themselves knocked out of the playoffs when they had the inside track for it. And so Cooper Kupp, to me, is the offensive player of the year.
All right. Defensive, I would go TJ Watt. The sack record, 22.5 sacks, and he missed a couple of games. People are going to say, it was an extra game, but he missed a couple. So
you're totally right. And of course, then there was that weird thing at the end of the year where he had what they thought was a sack and they changed it to a tackle for a loss in like the first quarter of Week 18.
Yep.
So he's got the sack record. Well, no, he doesn't. We just got a stat correction like 10 minutes later. But then like 15 minutes after that, he did get another legitimate sack to again tie the record. I'm going to go Aaron Donald here, though.
Yep.
I'm going to go Aaron Donald. I realize
still affects the game so much, doesn't he?
Yes. There are sexy stat numbers when you talk about an edge rusher like Watt, who is an otherworldly player. And he would be my other vote. If I could split the vote, I probably would. But Aaron Donald, if you watch games if you take your eye off the ball and just watch from guard to guard or from tackle to tackle, he destroys opposing offensive lines, and it changes everything about the Rams defense and then everything about the Rams outcome in games as an interior defensive lineman. That is rare stuff. I'd go AD.
I think these two might be relatively straightforward. Offensive rookie of the year, I would go Jamar Chase.
I would go Jamar Chase. I would consider Mac Jones because he plays the toughest position in the NFL. But Jamar Chase has had, again, Randy Moss would be the only other rookie wide receiver season that I could compare it to. And I think we're going to replay NFL RedZone during the offseason. And I think you'll hear me in like week 5 or so when Jamar caught another 50-yard touchdown, deep shot from Burrow. I said, is he becoming the best deep threat in the NFL in his rookie year, in the first month and a half of his rookie year?
Yeah.
Is he becoming the best deep threat in the NFL? I'm pretty sure I asked that question out loud. And I think the answer is yes. And I think we've also seen that he can take short passes and take them long. What a weapon. Give me Jamar Chase, offensive rookie of the year.
Defensive rookie of the year, I would go Micah Parsons, right? That's not that.
Everybody's going to go
that hard. He can play the run. He can drop into coverage. He can sack the quarterback as he did 13 times. I mean, you got 3 players in one.
Yeah, absolute home run draft pick for Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys franchise. He's going to be one of the leaders on the team now going forward. He was a rookie. It's a little hard to lead being a first-year player, but I think he's going to be one of the leaders, and I think he's going to be one of those edge rushers that he and TJ Watt and a couple of others are going to be fighting for that sack championship and even maybe Strahan's record in Strahan and Watt's record now for years to come. But give me Micah Parsons.
So we're going to do some quick fire questions now here on Decyfr's Super Bowl Super Show. And I'm renaming this Scott on the Spot. So we're going to rattle through these, Scott. All right.
Okay.
So
I'll give him my best shot.
The Octobox or the Witching Hour?
Witching Hour.
Good, man.
It lasts longer.
Let's have a look at the more exciting to watch. Brady's comeback in Super Bowl 51 or the 74 points combined and scored in Super Bowl 52?
I was at both the 71 points, because that one almost set a yardage record for a game in the NFL.
Yeah, it was over 1,000 yards, wasn't it? I remember that.
It was over 1,000 yards. And when I was looking at the live total, I'm like, they're going to hit 1,000 yards in this game. 1,000 yards in the Super Bowl. And they're both incredible. But give me the point total there. Yeah.
All right. The better Super Bowl food, chicken wings or chips and dips?
Oh, I don't get to eat either because I'm working during the Super Bowl and I can't get a suit messy.
We can't be messing with chips. We can't be messing with chicken wings on Super Bowl Sunday.
Chicken wings. But if I'm a fan, chicken wings. There's more sustenance to it. And I like we call them flats. And I can take a flat and strip it clean with one stroke. I'll have to show it to you on another Zoom here. With one, I can strip a chicken wing clean with one bite.
See, I can't mess with that with live TV. It's in the teeth. It's on the shirt. It's too
I wouldn't
risky.
do it on TV. No. But give me chicken wings as a fan.
All right. Would you rather tackle Derrick Henry or be tackled by Aaron Donald?
Oh, tackle Derrick Henry, because if I bounce off, I think the ground would be better without him on top of me, because Derrick Henry will keep running. If Donald tackles me, he's going to land on top of me, and that's double trouble. So give me. I'll try and tackle at his ankles, Derrick Henry.
I'm the complete opposite. I'm curling up in a ball and letting Aaron Donald take one shot, and I'm just going to stay curled up and hope for the best. But I think he probably would break me.
I hope you have a good physician at home.
And a good insurance policy.
Good insurance policy.
Let's do the last one. The bigger Super Bowl mistake. Not handing the ball to Marshawn Lynch in Super Bowl 49, still the most incredible thing I've ever seen in a Super Bowl, or Asante Samuel dropping a clear interception in Super Bowl 42.
Oh, I hate to throw either one of them under the bus, or either Asante Samuel dropping the interception. That clinches the perfect season. And it's a play that he makes 99 times out of 100. Yeah. I don't have as much of a problem with the pass. Everybody has a problem with the pass not handing it to Marshawn Lynch. I didn't have a huge problem with it. It worked out horribly, so it looks terrible. But Asante Samuel dropping that pass, I bet you he still has nightmares about that to this day. I got one rapid fire for you.
Go on. Okay.
You asked me about buffalo wings or chips and dip. You've been over here to the United States and you've been at a number of different stadiums. Yeah. Take a guess. I don't know how many different stadiums.
Probably about half the league.
Half of the stadiums. Okay. What's the best stadium food that you get over there that you can't get in the UK? Or vice versa. Is there something in the UK that American fans could get that they have to try when they come over to the UK to watch an NFL game?
So to me, this is really simple, because you can get hot dogs anywhere, but you have to have, and it's probably because I got all romantic again, you need to have a bratwurst in the parking lot at Lambeau Field on a cold day when you're about to go inside and broadcast a Packers game. I wasn't even hungry, but I had to have one because it's part of it. It's part of it. You're walking through the streets, then Lambeau Field emerges, and you can see your breath in the air. And you're going to watch. It was going to watch the Packers against the Vikings, Randy Moss's rookie year. Oh, wow, I went back again. Packers and Cowboys 2009 did a broadcast for BBC Radio. That's it. Bratwurst at Lambeau Field, and then they said to me, when we were about to do the broadcast, do you want the windows of the booth open or shut? I was like, open?
Of course.
Open, and we'll wear a coat. Lambeau Field.
No, it is unbelievable. The parking lot of Lambeau, the other thing that to paint the picture for the audience, the big metal drums, the barrels that they use as little campfires in with hot coals in the bottom out in the parking lot. People will use them to warm themselves and to cook anything. They're just big, huge, like oil drums. And they light fires in them, and that's how people stay warm in the 3-4 hours that they're tailgating prior. It's a beautiful thing. Good answer. Brilliant. Good answer. Good.
We're going to just take a couple of questions to finish up from some British NFL super fans. We're going to unlock fandom with Decyfr Sport. And our first question is from Adam from Bucks UK.
Hi guys, it's Adam here from Bucks UK. I've got a question for Scott and Neil. What's your take on the suggestions for improving the overtime rule in the future for the NFL? Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
Good stuff there from Adam. So I just want both quarterbacks to touch the football in overtime, Scott. I'm a simple man. I don't care how they work it out, but let's have both guys have an opportunity. It broke my heart to see Josh Allen not get the football.
Oh, okay, I understand. By the way, it was Adam, I believe, gave the question. Amazing man cave, and go Bucks there. That was an amazing. I love the background. Okay, you want both teams. Give me a proposal though. Don't just say I want both teams to touch the ball.
All right.
Because if you do it where both teams get a possession, fine. So in that Bills-Chiefs game, Mahomes goes down, scores a touchdown. Allen goes down, scores a touchdown. Then what?
Then I don't mind it being sudden death then.
But then you're like, well, why does Mahomes get the first possession after both teams get a mandated possession? And it was because they won the coin flip.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, that's where it's.
I got one.
Have you got one? I don't have one.
I'm a contrarian. I wouldn't change the rule. I wouldn't. Defense is a part of NFL football. And I'm sorry that we were robbed of extra football in one of the most entertaining playoff games of all time. But I think people that play the game will tell you, certainly defenders will tell you, no, it's on us. It's on us to stop him, even if it's Mahomes in a scintillating offensive performance with all the weapons that he has at Arrowhead Stadium. We got to stop him. We got to at least stop him from scoring a touchdown and get the ball back to our guy. So I would not change it, but I think there might be some momentum to change it, and I wouldn't fight against it being changed. I'm not saying it's perfect. Right. I just don't think it needs to be changed. How about this one? It's called a blind bid. Okay. So end of the game, end of regulation, we're tied. No coin flip. It's pure sudden death. Andy Reid and Sean McDermott on their own sidelines write down on a piece of paper what yard line they want the football on. Okay? So right. Andy Reid writes down, I want the ball on the 20-yard line. Our own 20. Got to go 80 yards for a touchdown. But Sean McDermott wrote the 19-yard line. Sean McDermott and the Bills get the football, and they don't know what either one of them bid.
I love that.
The NFL would never do it, but one of my social media followers proposed it to me, and I loved it. I'm like, because what would they have bid in that Bills game? They could have put the 1 yard line.
They both scored a touchdown.
We want to know no, but the 1 yard line, meaning I got to go 99 yards.
No. They would have both scored from their own one, marching 99 yards. So they would have felt confident.
But the drama of where they would have bid would have been something to see on TV.
So we'll monitor that one in the offseason. Rest assured, I will not be on the committee that comes up with the answers, but Scott Hanson might. Let's go. Two more we're going to take, and then we're going to wrap up. Let's go to Chris from Los Angeles Rams, UK.
Hi, it's Chris from Los Angeles Rams, UK. Question for Neil. What has surprised you most about the Rams this year? And a question for Scott, without the obvious choices, who has impressed you most on the Rams roster this year? And across the NFL, which players have stood out to you the most?
All right, so I'll take the Rams. What surprised me the most? I think it was that they looked so lost in November. We've touched on it already. We won't touch on the players from around the league. We've kind of done that with our awards. I was surprised how lost they looked, and then they found themselves, which was important. And I'll tell you the one other thing, and then I'll throw it over to you, Scott, for players that have impressed you. They've been accused of being a finesse team. They were physical as all hell against the San Francisco 49ers. They held the 49ers to 50 rushing yards on 20 carries, and they got after Jimmy Garoppolo at the end of that game. They ripped that finesse label off their backs, which I think was good, and it surprised me. Give us a lesser name that stood out for you from the Rams.
Okay, I'll give you two at the risk of going over here. Andrew Whitworth, the starting.
We're well over. Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Andrew Whitworth, the starting left tackle for the Rams, doing it as old as he is. I mean, everyone talks about Brady's age. Whitworth plays an infinitely more physical position, and he's starting in a Super Bowl against the team with whom he broke into the league, the Cincinnati Bengals. He's a fantastic story. And the other one, Cam Akers. What Cam Akers, and I'm not even saying, he hasn't had a 200-yard rushing game or anything like that, but what Cam Akers did coming back from an injury that absolutely would have cost 99% of NFL players could not have come back in the same season from a torn Achilles injury that he suffered in what training camp, because it was July.
Yeah, July.
To come back and to be able to play in the playoffs and now playing in the Super Bowl, and he's going to be a factor in this Super Bowl. Cam Akers has impressed the heck out of me.
All right, good stuff. Let's take our last question then. This one's from George, who is a big Indianapolis Colts fan.
Hey Scott, George here from George on Sports. I'm a huge fan of your work and I always love seeing you on NFL Sundays. My question for you, do you think more teams will try to emulate what the Cincinnati Bengals have done by drafting multiple players from the same college team? So Joe Burrow, Tyler Shelvin and Jamar Chase. Or do you think it's too risky of a game plan?
That is an interesting one. So Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, 34 touchdowns in 33 games, Scott, in college and the pros, clearly on the same page. So as George asks, do you think more are going to find comfort blankets for their quarterbacks?
I think, George, great question, and thank you for the compliment. I think that there is an aspect of that, but first and foremost is the talent level. You wouldn't take an Alabama player in round 1 and then take another Alabama player in round 2 unless both of them had a first round and a second round grade. Right. And then it's icing on the cake, basically, that they were teammates, especially if they play on the same side of the ball and they've already got some shorthand communication between the two of them. We have seen that before because we do have, our handful of college football factories, Alabama being right up there, LSU, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia now, Clemson. There are teams that have multiple NFL prospects on their rosters. I think that the Burrow and Chase thing is really, really unique. But keep in mind, they only had one whole full, really won the national championship season because Jamar in Burrow's rookie year, he opted out because of the COVID opt-out. That he didn't play in his senior year. So they've had, it wasn't like they were 4-year collegiate players together. But I think it's a good observation, George. And if it's on the same side of the ball and those players from the same school have round grades, first round, second round, third round that happen to match up, sure, take a guy from the same team and get that rapport already established.
Scott, I've got my overtime proposal. I just thought of it.
Let's go. Well, now,
Bills win.
In the UK, what do you refer to this as?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, that's the same thing we call it. Different people call it different things over here, though.
Oh, okay.
Rochambeau, I've heard it called a few different things over here in the United States, but rock, paper, scissors. But then you'll get guys cheating. You'll get the guys who are like, no, I thought we were going to go on 3. And then they wait, and then they do. Or they'll do one of these. They'll do a
kind of half and half thing. Yeah.
Like, what is this? Is that
scissors? Paper? Is it a paper or a rock? Yeah. All right, we are out of time. Just a reminder, you can stay across Decyfr Sport all across social media on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. They're going to have daily content all around the NFL, all around Super Bowl. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I'll be on Sky Sports NFL from 10 o'clock on Sunday, February the 13th. Super Bowl 56, the Rams and the Bengals. Scott, enjoy.
Have a great Super Bowl Sunday, Neil. Always good to be with you. And thanks to everybody watching here on Decyfr Sport. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hey, everyone. I'm Scott Hanson from NFL RedZone. If you want to see the best in the NFL, check out Decyfr Sport for all the pro football news and information.